What do you think about this statement? Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. What is your opinion?
Can't hear you.
Okay, I will try again. Słuchaj Izraelu, Pan Bóg jest Twoim Bogiem, Bogiem jedynym. Okay, we need to get a new set of hearing aids for this church. I will say it again. Listen, Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Did you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. For a moment I was afraid. So the first two times you couldn't hear me, and even if you did hear me, you wouldn't understand me because I was showing off. I was showing off my one of two sentences I know in Hebrew and then in Polish. I said, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, which is the quote from both readings today. And then I said the same sentence in Polish. Słuchaj Izraelu, Pan jest Twoim Bogiem, Pan jedyny. So you were challenged in two ways to understand my initial message, right? One, it was too quiet, and two, it was in a foreign language that most of you do not understand. So how could you get my message, right? Sometimes I'm tempted just to preach the whole sermon in Polish at 9 o'clock and in English at 11 o'clock, just to see what the reaction will be. But it would make no point, because without understanding, there will be no communicating. So it is important that we pay attention to what Jesus says, how he answers this very big question. Rabbi, which one of the commandments is the first? So I'm posing the same question to all of you. Which is the most important commandment? The floor is yours. Another attempt? Ping, 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 ping. Jesus answers the same way the book of Deuteronomy answered. Shema Israel, hear or listen, Israel. You see, you cannot love someone until you listen to them. You cannot know someone until you hear their story. If you cannot hear someone, if you cannot understand someone, there is no chance in heaven you will love them. So there is a point when Deuteronomy and Jesus in the gospel today say the first thing is this: listen to God and love God, and listen and love your neighbor. There ain't no love without listening. Ask anybody who is divorced. They will tell you, he didn't listen to me. She didn't listen to me. The selective hearing was too developed in that person. Many relationships break because we choose not to hear or listen to each other. How can you be a good wife, a good husband, good boyfriend, or good girlfriend if you don't pay attention to what the other person is trying to communicate to you? You cannot love that person until you hear what that person is saying. And the same applies to God. Every practicing Jew is supposed to say that verse, that "Hear, O Israel," at least once a day, because it is fundamental that we listen to God first. And we live in such a busy, talkative environment. There is 24/7 news cycle. Everybody's Facebooking, tweeting, Snapchatting, Instagramming. Everybody's talking. But so very few people actually are listening. It's all about likes, followers, but it's never about hearing what the other person is trying to say. So if you want to say that I love God, the first thing you have to do is to take some time and listen in silence. Switch off your TV, your smartphone, go away from your home, from your place of employment, and try to hear what the whisper of God is saying to you. Take a moment to truly listen. This day and age, so few people listen. We just say what is on our talking points, and we don't even attempt to enter into dialogue. Have you watched any TV interviews recently? Nobody is even pretending to answer questions. Now, the reporter might be asking a question, and the politician usually who is answering has her or his answer prepared no matter what the question is. Sometimes it's very hilarious. A question will be, for example, what do you think about the corn crops in Iowa this year? Oh yes, the immigrants are coming. What's the connection between the corn crops and the price of gas on Mars? There is no more dialogue in our society, even in our churches, because we don't listen. We don't attempt to hear what the other person is saying. You cannot love your neighbor unless you hear and listen to your neighbor. So on this post-Halloween Sunday, as we prepare for important election this Tuesday, I invite you to listen, to hear to the voice of God, to the voice of your neighbor, and yes, even to the voice of your wife or husband. Amen.